To order, please take the roll.
Calling the roll, Mr. Schron.
Here.
Mr. Hairston. Here. Mr. Greenspan. Mr. Greenspan is absent. Mr. Germana.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent. We have a quorum, and I like the record to reflect that Mr. Miller is in attendance.
Thank you. Is there anybody for a public comment related to this agenda?
No, Mr. Chair.
And has everybody had a chance to look at the June 15th minutes of the meeting? If you need some time, please take your time. Everybody's good? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? So moved, and I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none?
Mr. Chair, I was not present, but I'll approve the record for record.
Yep, well, we have a quorum, and all we needed was 2 out of the 3, so whatever you'd like to do. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Matters referred to this committee, we have one item that's been referred for discussion purposes. And I'd like to state from the chair's purpose here, I had a chance to sit down with the good mayor of Walden Hills maybe 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that. And to hear about his vision and the vision of working with Sagamore Hills in Summit County and to create a joint economic development district. And a lot of talk is created about the concepts of collaboration and working across borders, whether they be borders of a city, township, parts within Cuyahoga County. But I think what, and this was done, and I only because my belief of working with the mayor in the past, seeing his initiative and his drive to see things in big picture ways. Because if you look at what's happened in Walden Hills, they lost a lot of jobs, and people pulled out not through any fault of anything that was done in Walden Hills, but rather than kick the dirt and woe is me, they roll up their sleeves. And now they're rolling up their sleeves again here with what's going on in this concept of the joint economic development district between counties, not just between working together with fellow villages, townships, or cities here in Cuyahoga County, but to say, hey, let's reach out, because the definition of where a business puts itself and locates itself is based on what's, as a businessman, what I believe, and I know that Mr. Germana probably would reinforce this, the business is going to get located where the business is going to make the most sense. It's not going to be located through some kind of arbitrary location. And so the idea of having a joint economic development district that crosses over county borders, I think is really, really exciting to see this kind of initiative taking place. And I know that the fact that the audience is not out there, please don't be disappointed by that, because I think your message and your what you're doing here is something we want to sing from the rooftops out there. So with that, I will turn this over to whoever would like to be making a presentation on behalf of us. If we could just read into the record what the discussion is going to be in regards to it, Madam Clerk.
Creation of the Village of Walton Hills, Sagamore Hills Township Joint Economic Development District.
And then just please put your name on the record and tell us about all the things and timing and what's going to mean and all the impact of it.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Hurst. I'm the mayor of Walton Hills. I've been mayor for a little over 4 years. And on my left of me is Tom Jordan, which I hired to help me put this package together. He is a consultant that works primarily as an economic consultant, and he's helped me with a lot of the logistics and the paperwork and everything. About 3 years ago, when I first became mayor, Sagamore Hills and Walton Hills had discussions for many years about a main road that equates between our two counties. It's called Sagamore Road. And the road has not been rehabilitated for over 25 years. And if it's okay if I give you a little brief on everything.
I think it's important, even though, just so you're aware, even though this is not an audience-filled room, everything you're saying is being broadcast right now audioly, and so the news media is picking up potentially what's being discussed back in their in their locations, because this is streaming out to them, and it's also going to be recorded. So just for your purposes, put all the background on it, because you don't know who's going to pick it up and what's going to happen with it. Just the fact you only see 4 people up here from council and 2 that are missing does not mean that that's all that's listening to this broadcast.
Okay, thank you, sir. So to get back to my scenario and story that I want to give you details about, we started a package of trying to rehabilitate the road in between 2 counties and 4 communities, Northfield Village, Sagamore Hills Township, and Valley View, which is in Cuyahoga County. All had the same concerns, but there was no direction to bring it all together. So we were able to bring it together November of last year and apply for grants, and we were able to get the $4 million package started to rebuild the road, replace the water lines, change the road. The road, most of your secondary roads are 22-foot wide. This road had deteriorated down to less than 18 foot in many areas. So we want to rehabilitate the whole road, and there's a lot of residential on it. And the water main breaks, according to the City of Cleveland Water Department, was at least 3 to 4 every 6 months. So it was an ongoing package, and the water lines were over 75 years old. So after that was qualified, and we got everyone on the same page, and we was able to get the grants and worked with our engineers and the engineers of Summit County and Cuyahoga County and City of Cleveland Water, we were able to be very successful. So now we have this bill to pay for this road, and we were looking for other avenues to find ways to pay for it. And there was a mental hospital, North Coast Behavioral Center, that's located in Sagamore Hills Township. And I started asking questions and trying to get details of how this facility gets its water, gets its sewage, gets its access through this main road and everything else. Come to find out, there was never any abatements, there was never any access, any kind of agreements between townships or anything like that. And they do not contribute to the Nordonia school system, nor do they contribute to the Sagamore Hills Township that they're located into. But Sagamore provides them with safety and fire and all those services. So we came
So
together.
this is a nonprofit, the hospital?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, as opposed to
Nonprofit facility.
as opposed to a profit type facility?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. It's a state-owned facility. And so they made a $68 million investment there with the whole new facility at this 96-acre tract. And so we had come together with the professionals, and we equated their 96 acres, plus Sagamore had some land in this joint economic development, and Walton Hills has 2 parcels in this joint economic development. And we've able to put this together as a package with economic development that Mr. Jordan will give you all the details and provide you with any information that you'd like to know about. The bottom line is we were very successful bringing everybody on the same page to collect taxes and use this taxes to provide safety, fire services, and to rehabilitate the road and continue to keep the road maintained. Walton Hills had maintained this road for many years with snow plowing and salting and never was compensated whatsoever. So with, as Mr. Sharon had alluded to, we had lost the Ford plant in Walton Hills, and that was $1 million a year in payroll tax that we were receiving. And we were looking for other avenues to offset our cost, and we were successful to bring this together to benefit our community along with Sagamore Hills and to rehabilitate the road at the same package. So with your support here today, this will benefit our communities between 2 counties. Mr. Jordan?
Essentially, the Joint Economic Development District operates under a state statute that allows the municipality to extend its taxing authority into townships, as opposed to joint economic development zone agreements, which are more familiar in Cuyahoga County, i.e. Chagrin Highlands, that are agreements between 2 municipalities. So this allows a municipality to extend its taxing authority into a township that has no payroll taxes. I do want to reemphasize, the mayor, that road that this $68 million investment was occurring on, and everyone has terrible roads, but this was one of the worst roads in Cuyahoga or Summit County. Parts of it were closed off during different parts of the year. So they're making this huge investment on this really bad shaped road with a water main that broke very frequently. And because of all the fragmented governments that surrounded it, there were 4 different municipalities on the road in 2 counties. It had gone unfixed for many years, mostly out of the fact that it was a fragmented government ownership. So finally, the mayor, through his leadership, got all of them together. We worked out the road, but now we needed a funding mechanism. The actual village issued the $4 million of the debt. By extending the taxing authority into this acreage, into that area, and bringing in the road under the economic development plan, which is attached to the agreement, it provides a funding mechanism to pay off that debt service. In addition, there's this huge investment. Along comes workers and patients at this mental facility. The township actually has a volunteer fire department, is not sized properly for providing services to this new facility. So this income stream will provide money to the township as well as the village in order to fund the emergency services that will be required at the end of this road, at the very near end of Sagamore Road. So the Joint Economic Development District has been agreed upon by the village and the township. That is sent forward to the county. The county, under the state provision, has a 30-day period to ratify the agreement. It has some specific, which your council can provide you, reasons why you would or would not approve this particular agreement. Mostly is, did the village and the township enter into the agreement without coercion? We believe that that has been met. The mayor is here to testify that we haven't been coerced into the agreement, and that we hope that this particular agreement will bring a new era of relationships between the two counties as well as the two communities, and also better help providing services to our respective residents. Thank you.
Is there anyone here from Sagamore Hills Township?
Not today.
Okay.
They actually are going through a similar process in Summit County. We did invite them, but
Oh.
they thought the 4 meetings down there were enough for them.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, all right, very good. I know you weren't coerced, but it would have been nice to put that piece on the record out there too. But that's all right. I'll take your assurances that you didn't coerce your neighbors into this. Questions from members of the panel, or any guests, Mr. Miller or anybody else who would like to? Any questions from anybody?
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
Germano? Okay.
Tom, is there precedent for this in the state of Ohio?
Yes. While it's not often used in Cuyahoga County because we don't have very many townships in Cuyahoga County, it is very frequently used throughout the state of Ohio. I will say it's maybe once or twice every 3 years, but there has been a number of JEDs created. Again, every time, most people are familiar with JEDZUs, which are the agreements that Cleveland and Beechwood and Orange have on the Sugar and Highlands project. It's a little different issue there, but JEDs are always between a municipality and a township. That's why we don't hear about them so frequently up here.
And is this permanent? Is this?
It does have, all contracts have to have an expiration, but this is a very lengthy period. It's like a 50-year with a renewable period. So there is a board that's set up that administers the JED. It's a joint effort between the two, the village and the township, and members from the hospital. They will meet on an annual basis and say, hey, where do I need some of these funds to be spent to fully develop this district? If at a certain point later on in the agreement they decide that the district is no longer needed, they could let it expire, or they could actively work to get it terminated. But it's an indefinite thing. This facility, I have assumed, since they invested $68 million, it's going to be there for a while. So
this is just basically to pay off this road rehabilitation and some fire
Right.
service, emergency service.
well, there's actually, so you know, there's over 300 acres, and only about less than 100 is actually developed. The facility could expand. The land could be sold off either for private development or ancillary services. And in addition, while the road is one specific cost that we knew about up front, the fire issues and the EMS issues, as they put more patients and workers there, They are already multiple times a day visiting the site and not really being reimbursed, and the property is tax-free. So they're going to sort of work out what they want. So, you know, the village has offered 2 parcels of land that they've already looked at to install a fire EMS station at. If it becomes, the demands are such, Way would build a facility there and staff it in order to meet the needs of the joint communities, specifically the hospital.
So this JED acts like a municipal organization?
In part, I'm more closely related, you might be familiar with the Downtown Alliance. They formed
Correct.
a district downtown where they met and trying to meet the more specific needs of the clients. That's a little bit more akin to that. I wouldn't say it's a municipality. They can't raise any debt or anything. They just really oversee sort of the expenditures within the district and act as an advisory to the 2 township and the village.
And the mayor mentioned four different areas.
Right,
Is it-
Sagamore
is it
Road is.
4
yeah,
or
yeah.
2?
No, it's 4.
It's actually 4, so there's
Most
going
of
to
the
be
valleys
4.
are on Sagamore. And the members in this agreement are only the township and the village, who have the bulk of the road and all of the land. Sagamore Road extends all the way to Valley View and into Northfield. And when the road project was moving forward, it made sense to do those portions of the road that serve those communities as well as this commercial district or the state facility. So when we incorporated we issued the bond debt, it did include that area. All of them are paying it back to the village of Walton Hills, though. No one else wanted to assume the responsibility. And we did it in part with the idea that this funding mechanism would be coming along with the township.
And state statute requires that the counties,
Yes, in the
Involved.
30-day period post ratification by the 2 respective communities, it provides that a copy would be forwarded, a notice would be forwarded to the county, which has been achieved, and that they act within 30 days. If they do not act within 30 days, it's deemed approved. And there is a very narrow issues that the county reviews it on, and I mentioned, I'm not your attorney, but that was my understanding of the state statute is that, so you know that there are townships where a city says there's no way you're gonna get water unless you agree.
give in.
And I
Submit.
believe historically that has been the provision. And that isn't, our issues are a little bit more complex out there than just getting the water out there.
Do we have any comments from the law department in regards to what was just said?
No, but we reviewed it and we're comfortable that all of the provisions have been met.
Okay.
And just to finish, then what's the starting time of the 30 days?
Your 30-day, the county 30-day period was going post-ratification, from the date you received the notice. And then there is another waiting period after your ratification. So sometime this summer, the taxing authority would be implemented on the Joint Economic Development District. So the specific date I don't have at hand. We're waiting for your passage and Summit County passage, and then there is another period here that we're dealing with. I think Summit County has already met, but passage is a little later in the month.
So are we going to have legislation? Is there going to be legislation?
There
or-
is a resolution that'll be before county council tomorrow evening.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, for the first,
For the first reading, and then they, because of the time limitations, are asking that it, is looked at as being passed under first reading suspension of the rules.
And just by way of background, it was gonna come to this committee anyway, so as opposed to getting it after the fact, and they needed it, I said, let's have the hearing today.
Good idea.
Because it's not impactful on the timing, and I said, let's try and accelerate the hearing to get all the information out here, and then tomorrow, unless we hear any objections to this committee, but it just seemed like it was the proper thing to do to try and take care of a problem out there.
okay, thanks.
That makes sense.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Thank you.
Other questions, Mr. Germano? And I'll just get the other committee member, if he has any questions. Ms. Harrison?
Well, the only point I wanted to tell the law department, she wanted to see, did they have any reservations about moving forward? Did they believe that all provisions were met? And so she answered that question.
Gotcha. Okay, Mr. Miller?
What is the deadline for the county's action?
30 days from the date of the notice provided, and I believe on the first page of your packet was the cover letter, so it'll be 30 days from the cover letter.
Okay. And,
Yeah, that's why I figured this.
and on an annual basis, how much money is the JED expected to generate, and where will that money come from?
The JED, there is no prior tax records for payroll taxes for this facility ever, because it's always been in a township. So, you know, this facility was proposed for the city of Cleveland. The governor decided to locate it, and this facility was supposed to close and be redeveloped. But instead, the state has decided to reinvest out there. We only have some budget estimates that about $37 million worth of payroll is located out there. How much of that, when you divide it 50-50 and also take out what portions are taxable of the payroll taxes, we only have guesses. It's not in your packet by intent, was that we do not have an accurate estimate as to how much it is, but we believe it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we'd be splitting with the township.
So when you say it's divided 50-50, half of the payroll tax would go to the village and half would go to the township, is that correct?
Correct. Of what is being taxed out there.
And currently, there's no tax.
Note, in all townships, they do not have payroll taxes. As such, the JED really extends our taxing authority into that portion of the township.
Okay, makes sense.
Thank you.
The chair will ask some questions. The taxing authority, at least, is primarily focused on those who are putting the highest demand on the road. Would that be, which is the hospital in this particular case? Is that?
Yeah, the visitors, the vendors, the folks on Sagamore Road, the mayor is actually more knowledgeable about the residential portion of it, but there's only a dozen homeowners that line that portion of Sagamore Road. It's almost all the hospital traffic that's really on the road, on that portion of the road.
And so the hospital is going to be picking up, I would assume, the major portion through their payroll taxes to pick up the employees. Did anybody ask the question to the employees as to recognizing that the quality of the road and the snow plowing and service of that road is dependent upon somebody paying for it? And I would assume that a lot of people have to be recognizing that it's a good thing.
Right,
There'll be some people who weren't paying taxes before that were probably not going to be overly thrilled, but.
I'll answer the technical side, but the mayor has met with the hospital on a number of occasions, as is the township, informed them of our intent and try to work cooperatively on getting that road built. But also the agreement and the process, these 30-day periods that have occurred have allowed for, we've had public hearings, et cetera, and invited the hospital to participate. We've physically gone over the hospital. We've had teleconferences with Columbus and their on-site people and their construction people, because the construction, a $60 million construction project is ongoing currently. So we've met with them to make sure that they're aware that they are very happy that it's the road is going to go in, but maybe the mayor could.
Yeah, yes, to answer your question, we have about 60 residents that live on that 60 home. We have 1 acre tracts in Walton Hills, and in Sagamore Hills has about 60, 65. So basically about 130 homes on that street. And there's 300 employees at the hospital. So they far more traffic. And then with this construction that went on, started 2 years ago, we actually had to reroute all the trucks through Walton Hills and take secondary roads because Sagamore Road was too dangerous for the big trucks to drive on. That's how bad it was. And when we met with the directors of the hospital and we met with the state representatives for the hospital, they didn't oppose it. They thought it was, the running joke was it's way overdue. And they were glad that we were addressing the road because it had not been fixed. And as Tom had talked about, in our positions as leaders, a lot of times, a lot of leaders don't want to take the authority or take the leadership. And that was one of my priorities, was to fix that road because it had went through several administrations in other communities over several years for it to get impassable, the road was. And that's why I made it a priority to bring everyone to the same table and apply as a number and give us the more advantage to have it accomplished. And we took the responsibility to do all the financing and everything, and through our engineers, and we took the leadership. And Walton Hills has about 46% of the road, and Sagamore has about 37% of the road, and then the rest of that equation is divided between Valley View and Northfield Village. So Walton Hills does have the majority of the land, with our residents on that road, and Sagamore has the other section. And we've done something similar to this years ago where we worked with Northfield Village to allow them to tie into our sewer district or our sewer lines on Sagamore Road. So we've have a history of trying to work with all these communities to keep the ball rolling, I guess you'd say. Yes, but the impact is the hospital of the traffic and everything.
Well, the residents of the village of Walton Hills, they were always paying taxes anyway.
Yes, sir.
So that's nothing new to them.
Right.
The people within the township were not paying, and they're only that group that falls within the land that's being identified, which is the few homes you're talking about. So they aren't probably overly thrilled, but.
No, there's no residents actually.
There's no residents.
Oh, I thought there were a few homes that were.
My apologies,
I thought I heard that were in that.
they're on the road, but not in the district.
Gotcha. So they're not going to be impacted by this
They
either.
just got a new road.
Yeah, they got a new road, and
New water lines, new road. Yes,
they
sir.
actually got a really cheap date because Walton Hills people are paying for it, and now the hospital will be paying for it, and all those residents in the township are not even having to
It's
do
just
anything.
the people that work inside the district.
Yes.
Residents are excluded.
And then where do did you do a demographic map of where they're coming from?
The hospital did not furnish where all their employees were from. They are saying that most of them are actually from Summit County. We're literally on the border there, so there are some folks here. But if they are paying payroll taxes in their home community, and they provide a credit, it probably won't mean much to those folks. It would only be impactful to those people that maybe lived in another township and weren't being taxed there.
Is there a requirement to give them full credit if they are paying tax in?
The way it works is that under the state statute, you abide by the municipality with the taxing authority and follow our rules. And then the credits are applied according to the respective community where they live.
Okay, so what credits are you giving in Walton Hills?
We're not providing the credits. It would be wherever.
Their home community would provide the credit.
Okay, gotcha.
Walton Hills gives 100% anybody that works outside of our community.
Okay,
But
all right.
It'd be the same way back.
Do you have numbers as far as patients coming to visit? Do they give you that? And do they give you a number of visitors and all that came down that?
No, they just gave us the payroll, 37 million. Actually, the state provides a budget of about $48 million when you include operating for that facility. So our actual task, once this process is over, is actually to try to meet with their payroll people and get some of those answered. No one's thrilled to receive taxes, but they saw the necessity of the infrastructure.
But they're the ones building this huge expansion of their building.
Right.
Why would you not be thrilled about having an expansion on a quality road as opposed to being a clunker road? Because employees are not going to want to come visit. Patients are not going to want to drop, because this is a long-term care.
Yes, sir.
So who wants their aging parent to be going on it just seems to me they should be working harder to support you, to convince their employees that this is really a good thing, even though you are paying taxes out there. What kind of taxes are we talking about? Are we talking only payroll taxes that are going to be impacted on this? Because you said that the site has the ability to expand.
Well, the
and go
district is
commercial.
defined by the attachments in the land noted in the agreement currently. It is only has to do with payroll taxes at this point. Whatever they pay in In this instance, most of it is tax exempt, but it's only payroll taxes under this provision.
My question goes to this hospital is tax exempt. If somebody were to develop on the remaining parcels that are inside this group, what taxes could this group, the joint, impose?
The only provides for payroll taxes. They could, we don't share in any of the
Property taxes.
property taxes.
Okay, so nothing else is going to be impacted, even if it is a for-profit business, even if things that.
And it's very frequent in JEDs, actually. Sometimes it is a major business wants to go out and locate on private property.
Yeah.
That is a more typical actual JED. But the idea is that payroll taxes are what municipalities live on, and that's what they could share.
Okay.
The property taxes, as you know, go to the school districts.
Right. So there's no impact whatsoever on.
We're just about trying to use the payroll taxes to provide the services to develop the property.
Okay, so if somebody were to abate other taxes, is the JED, because you can abate a portion, not the school portion. I understand that, but.
Yeah, the abatements are, as you know, under either the Community Reinvestment Act or under the enterprise zone agreements on a case-by-case basis. If they needed that incentive in order to locate there, they would negotiate that with the township, actually.
Oh, okay.
You know,
So that does not go through the JED?
No.
No negotiations, good, so you don't have to be worried about that. You said that Walton Hills picked up the debt because nobody else wanted to, so this to me is an example of almost an entrepreneurial type strategy whereby you took the risk and hopefully on the hope that this JED might take place. What expectation did you have that this was going to go this smooth? I don't know if it's gone smooth, but maybe it just from where I sit, it looks like it's gone pretty smooth.
We took on the debt, but they all agreed to pay within time their share of the proportion of the road. But we took all the responsibility of engineering and everything else because we turned our water lines over to the city of Cleveland. And that's what helped us with the large $1.3 million for the new replacement of water lines, which was half of the sum of this $4 million. And then with the 4 communities tied together, we also, went to the counties and we also went to the state for OWPC, I believe it's called, grant money as well. And we scored high because we brought in so many communities and we brought in a lot of variables that made us more desirable to loan money out.
Good. Well, I love risk takers, and I love when the risk taking results in a reward. So excitement, and I hope you get all kinds of businesses to go on the remaining pieces of land because I think that would be a true measure of success. Any other questions? What's that? Yeah, absolutely. We'll go wherever makes sense. Questions or comments from anybody on the panel? Anything else? Is there anything else you'd like to bring forward?
Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Madam Law Director, what is it that you expect this committee to do to vote out at this point in time? Is there any action called for?
I don't believe so. I think
Okay.
it just would be, because it hasn't been introduced to the full council yet, so it would just be tomorrow, at tomorrow's meeting it'll be introduced.
How about,
You could make a recommendation.
we'll make a recommendation, then we'll bring that out, just that way at least it's clearly on the record that this committee has taken at least a recommendation for one way or the other. So as chair, I recommend that the county enthusiastically support this, and tomorrow night if the resolution comes before, I would ask my colleagues to support it. So that's my recommendation. Second, is there any other discussion? Okay. Any other comments? All in favor? Yeah.
No, I just want to say thank you, gentlemen, and.
We haven't
this
voted
is-
on it yet.
this is-
This could go down right now, you understand?
But no, but this is good government. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to do here? You educate yourself enough to understand it, and it works out for everyone, and I wish the rest of the government worked this way. Thank you.
Somebody lived down by the pizza shop at the marathon off the road there. You come and you get up the highway from Northfield,
Yeah,
you make that right and go down. I get tangled up around
Walton Road?
one road, but then we go over, he drives over to the Sagamore Road also,
Okay,
Yes.
depending on which way it comes.
okay, so you're familiar with the area.
And that discussion all somewhat tied into the conversation of whether we're going to recommend this. So all in favor of the recommendation, say aye. Aye.
Thank you,
Hearing
gentlemen.
none. Good luck, and we hope that we will bring this out with an affirmative vote tomorrow night. So,
Thank you.
yes. Oh, yeah, Mr. Miller?
Oh, I was just going to say that I'm not a member of the committee, so didn't get to vote today, but I also support the agreement. Thank you.
Great. Well, you'll get a chance to vote tomorrow.
Right.
And is there any miscellaneous business before the committee?
No, Mr. Chair.
How about any other public comment relating to other items not listed?
No, no one has signed in.
Okay, very good. I then, hearing nothing before this committee, I adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.